Hello, it's Chris at Garage Times. If you're new to the channel, thanks for checking it out. And if you're returning, thanks for coming back. Today we're going to be tearing down a 99 4L60. It's a 4-speed transmission that GM made for many years. And this 99, this 9 in the sticker readout here, means 99 or 2009. So you have to do a little more research to know what kind of transmission it is without opening it up. But you can also look at like the output shaft so you'll know the 2009 output shaft is going to be the 300 millimeter. This is a 298 millimeter output shaft, and I'll get you a shot of what that 300 millimeter looks like on that 2008 that I got. Here is the 2008, and you can see it's a little bit bigger, and it's got that brownish orange O-ring for the output shaft on it. And before we get too far, this range selector's already been removed off this transmission, but if you are going to remove the range selector, before you do, you're going to want to use like an angle grinder, or I'm sorry, I mean, like you could use something like this, but not necessarily the grinder, but get these little like like 3M Scotch-Brite type pads. They basically, can take off corrosion. And basically what you're doing is when this range selector is installed and they put the bolt on here, it flares that squared edge. You see that? Might be kind of hard to see. There you go. But that bolt will flare those little notches, and it will flare them out due to compression. And then, so if you go and pull that range selector off without kind of touching that up and hitting that and kind of knocking that edge down, then you will destroy your range selector. I'll get you a look at one that's installed. And here's a look at that range selector and that bolt. And like I said, you'll take that bolt off. Yeah, I just wanted to be sure there. 15 millimeter is what you would use to take that bolt off, and then pull this off. And then this plastic range selector, I don't know if you can see in there, but it is, it's plastic there. So if you pull that off and you don't use that angle wheel Scotch-Brite pad to kind of clean that edge up, yeah, you'll destroy that. So you have to buy a new one. I'm just gonna show you kind of like what I'm talking about here. But you get the idea. Like I said, it's kind of hard to with one hand. But yeah, you'll want to clean that all the way around here and you'll be good. I've noticed from recording other videos that when I use the louder air tools, like this this impact that's super loud, it might mess up the audio. So I apologize for that, but it takes a couple seconds and then it should come back in. Basically, the next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to remove the bell housing bolts, get rid of this bell housing, and you're going to need a Torx Plus bit, and if I can get a shot of that, it's like basically a 6-lug bit. Torx Plus 50 is what you need, and I think for 20 bucks on Amazon, I went with Nico, and it's a pretty neat little set. Not sponsored by them or nothing like that, but it works pretty good. Used it quite a few times, and they're good. And when it comes to this transmission, it's not like I've torn apart a whole bunch of them, so if I might say something wrong or whatever, it's I've only done so many, but I guess the point of the video is to kind of just give you like a generalized look at what it entails, and then to really kind of put it out there. Like if you're interested in doing this, basically anybody can do it. You know what I mean? Just got to put a little bit of perseverance and thought into it. But really, if I can do it, anybody can do it. Okay, we are gonna take those bell housing bolts out. I'm just gonna adjust the camera. And so if it does get loud and distorts the sound, I apologize. I am gonna try to start and stop it so to kind of speed up the tear down. yeah, so hopefully the impact doesn't mess up the volume for too long. But essentially just the TP50 on there, and just want to make sure here. You always want to make sure you're going the right way. And I just stopped there for a moment because I forgot to mention that whatever you do, get the TP50s for these, because Torx Plus 50 or Torx Plus set that has the 50, because you don't want to use a regular Torx bit or something else, because you will either break the bit for sure and or damage the lugs in these bolts, and then you'll have to try to extract them. So definitely get the right bit for this. And back to it here. That's it for that. And one more thing, I guess, before I get too far ahead. This is a four-wheel drive version. Four-wheel drives will have a cover like this that connect to your transfer case. On a two-wheel drive, it'll be conical. It'll be a long cone and a longer output shaft. So the output shafts are definitely different lengths. And it'll be like coned out back to your, it'll be two-wheel drive. So another shot of that, four-wheel drive. In here, I'm just gonna try to clean this out here a little bit with a pick. Try to get some of that out of there. You don't probably really need to do that because you're just gonna pop this keeper ring out, but I just wanted to kind of get a good look at that. And as I go, I try to keep a pretty good work area, you know. I'll clean up a little bit here and there because I don't want like my parts, you know, especially your internals, getting all shredded up with the stuff on the outside. This case is pretty dirty. So after I'm all done, I'll probably power wash it. You'll hear people say like, you know, I'm gonna swap out my stock servo, my 2.4 band servo, and I'll get like a Corvette servo. That seems to be like the thing to do. I did on my last transmission, I did a Corvette servo in it only because when I tore it down, that's what was in it. I'm actually not sure what kind of servo is in here, if it's a Corvette or if it's just a regular one. And this is the thing, like if you remember from like when I was a kid, I always knew like growing up in the late 80s and 90s there, like Chevy, GM, they were always, it was always a very smooth ride. It was kind of like the Cadillac of trucks, you know, the way the ride felt, compared to like a work truck or a 250, you know what I mean? But, and especially when it comes to shift changes, shift feel, like it was, you know, hard to feel those shifts. Some people like to feel the shifts, you know, the jerk or the, you know, really feel it. And so if you're looking for that, if it has a stock servo in it, you know, you're not going to feel the shifts. If you put that Corvette servo in, though, you're definitely going to feel some shifts. My only thing is that transmission did work that I rebuilt, and you could definitely feel the shifts. And it does help to increase line pressure for the band. So, you know, increased line pressure for the band means less slipping, less clutch wear, and, you know, maybe less burnout. But then when you feel it, when you're riding, you're like, man, that really feels hard. Like, is it doing something, you know, to the other components of the drivetrain inside the trans? And I guess, you know what, that's for the engineers to know and figure out, so. Gonna try to remove this 2/4 band cover keeper ring here. You can just get a screwdriver under it, usually. Pop her out like that. A lot of times you just work her out with your hand then. I can use a screwdriver too. It's definitely got a lot of stuff in there. Just trying not to bend this band, but you know, if I have to get a new one, I can. But usually you never really have to damage it. There we go. Next thing you'll want to do is kind of get yourself a pair of pliers. Adjustables work really good. Snap-on's the best. No, I'm just kidding. Any good pair is good. I just kind of want to work that. Actually, probably tap it with a hammer first. And in retrospect, I should have actually, you know, when I was trying to pull that ring out, the keeper ring here, I apologize, just so you know. Give this a couple taps. Try to tap her in a little bit. And that'll make your getting your that keeper ring out a lot easier. So I'm gonna tap this back in. What's going on here? There's an O-ring in there that's holding that in there. So I'm gonna kind of dig around there and clean it and kind of get it exposed so you guys can see it. If I didn't mention earlier, I'm gonna try to capture everything the best way that I can from the camera angle here. I don't have somebody to hold it, so I'll try to do my best. And what I did is I saw me tap her in, and then I just kind of worked it like this, and then I kept working it outward. And you see how it kind of pops out there like that? And what it does is it exposes this blue colored O-ring here. And what you want to do is you want to definitely get it out, and you don't want to, you preferably don't want to cut it or break it, because then that band is stuck in there and it makes it hard to get the cap off. So I'll work on that here. And I'll keep kind of starting it to kind of speed it up here. So as you can see, there's the blue O-ring. Use your pick to kind of stretch her a little bit. Do your best not to break it. And hopefully you'll be able to spin this out. There you go. And this is what we were trying to get out there and stretch, and then that relieves the pressure for the cap to come off. If you are swapping out your stock servo, and this is a stock servo, you can tell by the notches here, these three. Corvette, I think, from memory, it has like 5 different notches or more. I have to look in the book to be sure, but this is definitely not a Corvette. And like on this one here, this goes on top, but there's like a scarf cut seal here. But I don't know if I'll be able to. We'll get you a look at that here. Like, I won't show you every single seal, just because this is just like a general, but like on the scarf cuts, they like come together. So this is not broken, this is normal. But as you can see, they kind of, and I don't know if the camera can pick that up really good, but basically they're cut diagonally like that. And when that seal comes together, it seals. So they work very effectively and usually last forever. So, and if you got a question about it, want to look it up, it's called a scarf cut. I'll just pull the rest of that servo out. As you can see, you got like a regular, like a O-ring style seal there. You have a scarf cut on this one. and then another scarf cut there. You're looking at these sealing surfaces, you know, looking for any wear, damage, or anything like that in this one. You know, and here you're looking, hopefully I probably was off camera, but I'm looking here around this edge, and then in this edge, kind of scoping stuff out. And I'll do like a more thorough look at everything later, but just kind of give you the idea for tear down. Be a spring in there. A lot of times, some guys take springs in and out and stuff, but I like to try to, if it's whatever was in there is what was in there. And another story with this transmission, the guy that I got it from, he said that it burned up, like it like burned up his 3/4 shifts, like he doesn't have 3/4. Super common, like he'll have first, second, and reverse, but no 3/4 shift. And that's what happened to this guy. What I'm gonna do next is work on this connector. And let's talk about this connector, because this connector also does aid in the help of figuring out which transmission it is. Like green connectors will be like 13 pin, and then the gray and white one on the 08 will be a 15 pin because they added in the transmission speed sensor, the ISS. So there'll be different colors. Green is older, you know, the white and gray ones are newer, but you kind of got to use everything together to kind of determine what you got. And what I'd like to do is I'm just going to work that loose. Yeah, and you can really smell the burn with this. And this has just kind of got these little plastic like grab tabs. Once you pop it through, it holds. So you just got to kind of squeeze them a little bit, and squeeze them and kind of tap that down. There you go. So you just tap that down, and then let's take these bolts out of the pump. Should be 7 bolts here. 13 millimeter, and I like to use like the lowest amount of power necessary for taking stuff apart. That I had no choice on the bell housing bolts. I think they're like, I mean, 60 to 80 foot-pounds. It is a lot, maybe around 60-ish or more. In each one of these, you'll replace the seals on these. This seal keeper. You'll want to try to organize your stuff the best you can, and I'm just going to give you a shot of something here with all these parts. Yeah, you'll want to lay your stuff out if you had another bench. Like this works, this is like a, I don't know, regular tabletop picnic bench thing. But you want to have another one so you can neatly lay your stuff out so you can remember it until you kind of get a little bit more familiar with the stuff, and then you can kind of, you know, I mean, lay your stuff out if you don't got space. This is not the best way to lay it out, but I've got enough like time doing them where I kind of feel comfortable. And when it comes down to it, like, you know, a lot of the stuff at the end, you can measure it to make sure what bolt goes where. And I really need to invest in like a regular transmission bench for this, or something that drains. I'm doing it all the time because this just makes a terrible mess. Let's see. So what I'm going to do is, you saw that. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tip her up and keep sopping it up until I get her clean and dry, just so I don't make a mess everywhere. Well, a whole bunch of rags later, out of the rag bag. So yeah, thank God for the thrift store. They carry rag bags. They put them together for you, for the local mechanics and stuff here. So good deal on that. Yeah, so get her cleaned out. It'll drip more, and I'll just clean her up as we go. We're gonna take the pan off next. And this is a 13 millimeter bolts. And I don't know if I mentioned, it smells burned, like the fluid is black. I mean, it's really dark. A lot of friction material in there from the probably the 3/4 clutch plates. And yeah, it's got a very distinct smell. And you'll know it right away once you do enough of these. And like I said, I've only done not too many. And you know what's weird is I had a relative that he ended up buying a truck, and then the transmission like went right away, or he didn't know. So I kind of got roped into helping him out. Because honestly, when I went to college for automotive, I was like, it was cool, the transmission stuff, but I was like, I'm just gonna be a general mechanic, you know, licensed, and that's all I'm gonna do, just regular stuff. And like rebuilding transmission was like, no way. But you know what? Like, the only way to figure out if you like something is to do it, and that's, you know, how I figured out, man, I really like doing these. They're pretty cool. If you like doing puzzles, man, this is where it's at. These pan bolts must have been took out because they're it just doesn't feel like there's hardly any. Well, maybe not, because there's so much fluid in there, so I was probably wrong about that. Just doesn't seem like they were torqued down very hard. It doesn't take a ton of torque for them, but it just seems really light. All right. And they say lighting's everything for making videos, so. Pan, and as you can see, it's all black friction material, which is actually quite common. So a little bit of gritty stuff in there. Hopefully there's no hard part damage anywhere. But I don't see, like, it's just a little gritty stuff. I don't see any like significant like metal. So we'll get into it here and see what's up. Okay, I wanted to do a video I wanted to notate this in the video, because when I was doing my research, I put one together and I'm like, where is the stop? The fluid transmission dipstick stop, and there's one right there, right? And on my 2008, I didn't have that stop, and I thought I lost it. I was looking everywhere. I was doing research, and then so check this pan out. This 99, this is the 99 pan that we're tearing apart, and then this is the 2008 that we're tearing apart. And the difference is, in the 2008, they built a ledge in here. They raised this edge, so that's what your transmission dipstick's hitting. Over here, it doesn't have a ledge on the 99 and requires the dipstick bracket stop. So if anybody's out there looking for that information, hopefully that helps. Continuing on here, this is your filter. Just take off your filter and just give her a little spin out. It usually comes out a little easier than that, but there we go. Quite a bit of fluid left in there still. Take this detent out of the spring. Basically those, it's a roller spring assembly, puts pressure on your detent, so you'll like clicking through the gears, you'll feel it. And I'll go through and start unplugging my wire harness. And like over here, Just gotta make sure you guys can see that. On this side of the valve body, you have like your A and B shift solenoids. I was trying not to break these clips. And if you break them, you gotta get a new wiring harness. And the thing is, you know, in this case, he's only lost 3/4, and if he's just burned up his 3/4 clutches, you know, if it's just you rebuilding your own, this wiring harness could last a lot longer. But if you're not comfortable with that, you can get a new wiring harness, you can get a new manifold pressure switch, the shift solenoids, your pulse width modulated solenoid, and then your 2-3 downshift solenoid. Yeah, so I think that's, you have a torque converter clutch pulse width modulated solenoid. So, all right. And I'll probably go over that again just to make sure I got it all. I think everything's loose. All right. And a lot of stuff is 10 mil, there'll be a couple 8 mils. What's really critical is really on assembly, because if you put the wrong length, like if you put one of the longer bolts in a certain spot, in here you'll lock up your rotational components inside the transmission, so you always want to make sure you got the right lengths. Probably have to take this off first. All right. Some 8 millimeters. Oops. Like I said before, I might have to stop just to make sure. Oh, you know what I forgot to mention? I kind of just barely put a little bit of up pressure on that, but really you should try to work it back and forth so that you don't pull the, there's basically like little discs in there and rubber gaskets, seals. If you pull up too hard, you could damage the, your pressure manifold switch pillows, and then you have to get a new one of these. And you know what, if you test stuff out and it's not broken, you know, why fix it, especially if it's your own personal thing. But now, like if you're like rebuilding it to sell, that's probably a different story, because then you're going to offer up like a warranty and stuff. But this is just for the regular guy. But as you can see, those are those pillows I'm talking about in there. And then there's rubber seals. And you get in your kit, you get new rubber seals with that. And then I think in more advanced kits, you can actually get the plastic discs that go below those rubber seals. And you can replace those discs too. And just so I make sure I get some of the nomenclature right, like, so this is your force motor here, pressure solenoid, and then there's your AB shift solenoids. And then your converter clutch pulse width modulated solenoid. That's going to be this one here. And then your 3-2 downshift will be here. Dipstick bracket. gonna leave right there for a minute. All right. Basically just going around still trying to get the rest of the 10 millimeters out. And I think that's it. 10, we'll go around and get the 8s, the rest of the 8s. And I think that's it. Like I said, it's not like building these every day, tearing them apart, so bear with me. I'm gonna try to lift this valve body off around this harness wire here. And I kind of tilted it up because usually the check balls come off and you gotta kind of search for them. So I'm just gonna see if I can get this popped off here. And it feels like it's gonna come pretty easy. And this is your manual valve that is moving over here. I just like to get it up and kind of get this to come with me. And I might have to kind of pulled up on that your plug connector, your transmission that we pushed down earlier. Kind of just kind of lift this up and turn it. And just kind of watch out for the electrical wires there. Basically, the only other thing that's kind of holding this up here is this manual valve. So just keep pulling her out, gentle. There we go. Or you can, disconnect that linkage. So as far as this goes, I'm just gonna set this down here. Actually, slide this over. And you want to be gentle. You don't want to put a ton of pressure on the wires. And now I can kind of get to those. And I'm very gently setting it next to that transmission case there. And we'll just get this solenoid out next that goes in your pump. And this comes attached permanently to your wiring harness. And this connector here is a little bit different, not this connector, but the connector that's connected to the solenoid here that goes in the valve body. Just a little different than the 08. So I'm gonna try to take this off all as one. This basically is a combination keeper and holds it down. So we'll just take that solenoid and wiring harness, come over to the bench. this is your valve body. Manual valve. And we'll do a more thorough teardown later. We'll do the different components like your pump, it'll be a different video, but it'll have like the pump, valve body, you know, your stuff like that. I'll try to do as much as I can. The valve body is kind of like its own, it'll be like its own video. And you know what, while we were talking, like things that go wrong though, if you're wondering, for the valve body, like one of them, I mean, there's lots of stuff, but inside here, this here, you have a forward piston in there, hydraulic piston basically. You'll have a 1, 2, and a 3, 4 piston in your transmission, and the pistons a lot of times they'll be a combination of metal and plastic. And what I like to do, and actually I'm gonna open that up right now just to see what's in there, just so that I know. Because what happens if you have a, let's say a 3, 4, you know, burn up on your bands, your 3, 4 gear oil is like your longest running hydraulic circuit, so that's why the 3, 4 tends to burn up before anything else. And you'll still have your first and second gears. Yeah, so, yep, there is a plastic piston in there, and yeah, so try to get you a shot of that. So that's white plastic, and they'll crack. And this is basically a pin. This is a pin here that rides on, and that pin allows fluid to leak by this plastic. You know, the plastic wears out and then it leaks by through this pinhole. So you can get accumulator pistons that are all metal and they have no pin. So you'll pull that pin out, and I'll do a video on that later. I'm gonna try to get you a better look at that plastic accumulator. And essentially that's it. You know, I mean, if you do tear one apart, replace this, and I would honestly replace it with a metal one. Yeah, it's crazy though, like the plastic ones, I mean, like GM manufactured them, and the engineers involved, like they do last, these transmissions do last a long time, so, but I've been putting metal accumulator pistons in all my rebuilds, so. Pinless accumulator pistons. This, sometimes they're cork and sometimes they're rubber gaskets. And here will be an accumulator piston. So like you'll have the 1, 2 accumulator and then a 3, 4 in the case accumulator piston. Oops. And you know, I'm like looking for cracks and stuff like that and see if there's any damage. And so far, like that other plastic one, I'll look at it again, but that other plastic one seemed like I didn't notice anything right away. But again, another plastic accumulator piston, pin style. Gonna replace it with a pinless accumulator piston. And give me 1 second. If If you want to inspect this, when you get to this point, you can just put air into this hole here, and just a little bit. So just be careful, cover that piston because she will go flying. And this one's got like a double spring in it, spring inside of the spring. And I just kind of orient stuff how it came out so I can put it exactly back the way it goes. And yeah, so kind of get her cleaned off, see if you can see any cracks, hairline cracks. Check your, this is a, I believe this is a scarf cut on this, but, or maybe not. The new ones come with us, like I think they're square cut, but anyways, new metal ones come with the correct seal that goes around the outside. And actually on them, they come with 2 seals for the top and the bottom of the piston. It's like double sealed. So definitely no hydraulic leaks. Gonna remove the stiffener plate. And I don't know, let me see here. Okay, it's cool. I got 7 check balls here. This location, that location, here, 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 and here. So you just want to collect them off the valve body or the spacer plate. I just like using the magnet on them. You can't get them off. And some might be beat right into the plate, you know, the damage that from them being cycled so much. Yeah, some of them are suctioned down pretty good. And then what I'll do is I'll look at my spacer plate and kind of scope it out here and look for damage. And like here, I got a significant amount of damage in this area of the spacer plate where that ball's just slamming into that. There's quite a bit there too, here. I mean, the thing was a 99, so there's definitely evidence of wear. Some guys will just ball peen these down and stuff like that, or they'll peen them down and flatten them out. I just get a new spacer plate for it. And this one actually, so the new spacer plates will come with gaskets that are kind of flat just to the plate. And they'll just be flat with the plate, and really the surface area these filters, the surface area for these filters, these are good ones. But the other ones that come pre-molded into the plate, you know, they just got one face, so there's just less filtering, or an easier way for them to clog. This gives you a little bit more filtering, or double the filtering area, I think, based on what it looks like. Yeah, I'm gonna kind of drain this a little bit, but before I do, there is one more loose check ball that is inside the case, and it's right here. So hopefully you guys can see that. And then there are a couple other check balls that are captured. Like this is your low reverse piston check ball used for venting down here, but it's a captured check ball. And there'll be another check ball in here, check ball capsule that you have to look down inside the case to see here where my finger's at, and then you can look in here and you can see it. But essentially those check balls stay there. You'll do a gear fluid hydraulic test. Basically, you'll just pour fluid in there, a 50-50 mixture of mineral spirits and transmission fluid, and see if it drips out, that you can see it dripping in here. Or, I'm sorry, dripping inside the case. You'll be looking in the case when you do that. But yeah, they'll stay there. Let me drain this a little bit more. Just because I want to pull out that piston. And this is the 3-4. This will be your 3-4 piston. The one that sat on top of here would be your 1-2. And then that one that was in the bell body is just the forward accumulator piston. And normally you can air blow, kind of pressurize these to get these to come out, but all that fluid will go everywhere. So I'm just gonna clean it up. Got it cleaned up a little bit. I'm pretty sure that if I put air in here, it should push this up. Kind of gotta be careful here. And this one's a metal one. And the seal looks good too. Yeah, nothing too out of the ordinary there. At all, really. Take this linkage off. It's 15 millimeter. And actually this linkage too, this linkage arm. It's kind of wiggle or loose here. This is basically for your manual valve on your valve body. And I mixed up some of them bolts when I was taking the valve body apart, so I'll definitely be measuring them all to make sure that they go back in the right way. I can't really get down in there. So there's like a metal shaft keeper. It basically just snaps onto the shaft and it's basically a spacer in here. I'm gonna pop that off with a screwdriver. All right, and for the length of editing here, I'm gonna pause it. So in order to get that out, this is that spacer that snaps on that shaft. I end up having the screwdriver in this way, and then I just got a hook, one of these picks, and I hooked it like that, and I put some up pressure and pry it out to get that out. So being honest on that, this part here, I wasn't sure, couldn't remember like why it was hanging up there, but I just had to kind of wiggle it so I could pull this shaft. I have to unscrew that. It's like a castellated nut, even though there's no like, that's what this one looks like, but you're not gonna put nothing through it, no cotter pin or nothing. And you put a new seal in here too for this shaft when you're done. Oh, pressure there. Well, I'm gonna work on that, and this is that, it's like a little castellated nut. Like the other one doesn't look like that, I don't think, on the weight, but yeah. So, be right back with you once I get that out. So I had to keep working that out. I used a little bit of prying action. You got to be careful if you are prying, not to pry on the case, the valve body, the case valve body, anything, you know, you can't put a lot of pressure on. But essentially this seal is super tight, which is good because it definitely was sealing really good. And that shaft that I pulled out of here, I just touched her up with some emery cloth. And I'll look in here just to kind of inspect the teeth on that. Just give me 1 sec. So I'll try to capture this on camera. If not, maybe I'll do it off camera. But normally, I just pop the pump out with a pry bar carefully. You can get a puller put on here, which is probably the preferred method. But I see a lot of like pro builders, they'll just gently get something in here and kind of pop the pump out. So. I try to find something skinnier. So essentially that's what I did. I just worked the big pry bar in here, and then I used my biggest screwdriver I got though, but like just worked it in here gently and just kind of worked her out, and so it should come. Like I said, you can get a puller. Pretty affordable, but you can also do this too. And that's your pump. Just gonna clean up here. So like in all the transmission stuff that I've done, which it's not like it's been like a ton, but the stuff that I've done with these transmissions, honestly the hardest part about everything, tear down and putting back together, is this here. Is trying to get your input housing and what you're seeing right here is your reverse input drum. Trying to get all that out because this band catches it and this band anchor locks in. So what you want to do is try to get this band anchor out first. Otherwise, you're going to be like, it's a nightmare to try to work on. So like that, this coming out like that. I don't know if you guys caught that, but this is your band anchor. Like that does not happen. Like the last ones I did, it does not want to come out, and I fought and fought and fought to get this out. So give thanks to the Lord for that, eh? All right, so with that out, you should be able to pull your reverse input drum, which is sitting on top of your input housing, which holds like your forward clutches, your 3/4 clutches, your overrun clutches. That, and then I'll slide this so you guys can see, hopefully. All right, so when this is your band, you'll just pull your band out now. And looking at the band, there's wear, but like, you know, it's just amazing. 100, 200, 300,000 miles and stuff just holds up, you know. I would never recommend reusing old stuff. Always get new, but the band obviously grabs that reverse input drum and basically squeezes it. And what can happen is while that 2/4 band, when you're shifting from 2 to 4, or I meant from when you're shifting into 2 and then releasing and then shifting into 4 and releasing. It really squeezes this area of it. And what you want to do when you look at it, you want to put like a straight edge on here, throw some light behind it, and make sure, I'm probably off the camera, but put a straight edge here on it, and then shine light through and make sure that there's no concaved. It's got to be super flat across here, otherwise you'll have band failure. You can always get a new one. This doesn't look too terrible, but I haven't thrown a straight edge on it, which I will. So what I mean by that is, if you can see or not, but I'll throw a straight edge on there, and then I will shine light behind there. But even now, it doesn't look terrible. But I'm gonna, like I said, I'll shine light behind there, make sure, look at it when it goes to final inspection, and determine whether I want to do that now. And actually, maybe I could just do that now. Get that straight edge on there. Like I said, it's kind of hard with, there's a little bit of wear there, maybe more than I'd like, but not terrible. But that's what you're looking for that. And typically the clutches are really always very good in here. But we'll tear those out here. We'll just take a look at these. And as I suspected, they're in really, for the miles on this, and the hundreds of thousands, I mean, it still has got the lettering on there from, I think it's Borg Warner, it says. But, do I know for sure if somebody's been in there or not? Not yet, but these look really good, these clutches and steels. But there's always new clutches and new steels that come in your kit. So there'll be a conical type shape. I think it's got a fancy name for it. Belleville spring, I think that's called. I think it's called a Belleville. And if you look at it, it's purposefully coned, and the cone goes up. And then, like in here, I'll just show you, use a special tool for that. It's basically a spring compressor, and you'll throw this up in here like that, and these legs actually will go in here like this, and basically you'll compress. There's a spring in there, and you'll compress that down, and then you'll take, there's a C-clip in there retaining a key or whatever, and then you'll just be able to release that. And then there's seals in the bottom of that piston on that you'll have to replace. But like I said, it's not a full rebuild for you, just kind of a tear down to kind of look at stuff. And you think oh yeah, this video won't be that long, and then the next thing you know, it's an hour and a half. So. And this is just a bushing, goes on the bottom. So in here will be like your 3/4 clutch backs. Here's this is for an end play type washer, or actually that's your washer. I'm sorry. It's actually a roller bearing type roller bearing. I can't remember the name of the type of bearing it is, but there'll also be then a washer in addition to that. That's down here that you got to get out. So basically, I'll just mess with that washer later. It's just sitting in there. That's just stuck because the fluid's got like a suction on it. Washer down here. These are sealing rings. So you'll want to look here, and I'm inspecting these, and they're like Teflon sealing rings. They make scarf cut ones for this as well. But these Teflon ones, they go on like you'll have a special tool for installation. I'll show you in another video, but yeah, these all are, none of these are broken. And that's what you're looking for. And then we'll check out our clutches. And I apologize about the video length. So, here it is. Basically just this, that's all you gotta get off. And I just keep working my screwdriver around it. Get that off. So what you're seeing here is these little springs coming off and or coming out and up. They're basically there you go. They push up on the plate like spring dampening. That's what they do. They help when they help release faster is basically what's going on. So there's no drag when you're in between gears or you're shifting out of a gear, or it wants like this clutch pack to no longer, it's no longer compressing the discs or the plates. Once that pressure releases, these springs, which you'll look at one here, these springs help push up on that plate and push that plate off faster. I guess that's the idea. But some guys will eliminate them and take them right out of their build. You know what? I like to put them back. You know what I mean? If they came with it. But pro builders, there's different pro builders that like and don't like them. So, what do you do there? Let's set this down for a sec. Inspect these. So these got a little worn. Some little bit of plate discoloration, plate wear. They got a little hot, a little bit of conical, but yeah, definitely. Yeah, some of these are burned up and damaged. So yeah, definitely. Yeah, move those clutches out of the way and plates, and then this washer that we were trying to get out earlier came out. Each one of these washers will have a designation on, like 69 or 70 or whatever. It doesn't mean the thickness. The number doesn't represent the thickness. Like, it's going to be like 69 something, but it gives you like a chart to go by. Like if 70, it gives you like a range of what the measurement is, and you're going to use that for like end play, to know how much end play you got. Especially some people do different stacks. They'll go thicker or thinner on their stacks. But I just kind of try to do the recommended non-pro builder, I guess, what you'll do is you kind of get it started with a screwdriver, and then you want to pull up on it with probably a pick like that. Keep working it around. You can get your fingers under it. And what I mean is, like, I got this this clip off here started, and then this retaining ring, and then I'm just going to keep popping it off here. Holding it with the other hand, pulling up, going all the way around. So these ones here, like your overrun or your like coast clutches, and the material in here is awesome. Like, no use at all for those. And then these clutches, your forward clutches are really nice. There's no wear, and you can still see the lettering in them. So the forward and like your coast clutches here are fantastic, but going back to what was the original cause of concern with this transmission, and it was the 3/4 clutches burned up. So, and just to go back, so like that main concern, 3/4 clutches. And I'll make sure I get them on video here, but like the material, you see how it's blue and gray there? They got super hot, burned up, and then like they're all black, they're all burnt. There's like, this is just down to the metal, you know? You can feel a little bit of hardly nothing there, but once the material burns up, your rated thickness on your clutch pack then is decreased, so you'll have more slop in there. So as these burn up or get worn down, they get more slop in them, and then it just aggravates the condition. More slop, it's just going to burn even more until they're completely gone. 3/4 clutch failure right here. Now, trying to figure out for sure why the 3/4 clutch failure happened. You got to try to find out what the leak was, you know what I mean? So that's why I replaced those. The forward accumulator piston we talked about, the 1/2 accumulator piston we talked about, and that 3/4 accumulator piston. Make them pinless accumulators, and they got double seals on them. And I was going to go into tearing this apart, but the 3/4 gear oil, third gear oil, you know, in here you'll do your checks to see if that captured check ball leaks oil. That's another one of the many places you can have leaks from. You know, if you have one of the seals somewhere's leaking, then maybe that's going to affect your 3/4 gear oil circuit, which is super long. And this is, I just got to make sure the camera's recording. Like I said, your input housing, your input drum. In here, the 3/4 clutch failure can also be because I hear a lot of like the guys that pro build in like transmission bench. If you're looking for a good building video, he makes really super awesome videos. I'm not like sponsored by the guy or nothing like that. I'm just recommending him. Like, if you're gonna build something, that guy, he does a phenomenal job. But he and a lot of the other builders say there's molded pistons in there, and they got seals on them and stuff like that. So if a lot of times if they fail, and that's usually one of the most common failures, is those pistons fail in there. The seals on them get all loose and old, and yeah, actually I'll try to pull those out so you can see. And this is the tool that you'll need for this to get these out. And I apologize, that was not the right tool. This is the right tool. Again, I've done a ton of these, so sometimes I get a little bit ahead of myself. Try to position so you guys can see. you should kind of just wheel this down. Oops. And normally I have my bench that I have 2 holes in it. And I'll just put if you're gonna do this, drill yourself a hole in the bench, that way you can put that shaft right through that hole, and then you're not on the edge of a bench like this or doing it kind of awkward. My bench is covered with that other transmission and parts. So. Just gotta get her lined up here. So now that everything's lined up, like I said, it's kind of awkward that it's off the edge of the bench here, but you just do a little compression there. And if your clip is not in the right position, then what you can do is just, sorry about that. What you can do is just kind of work it around to where you got it, with a pick even. I'm just going to work that around. So basically I just work that around with a pick to where those tabs are open to me, and I'm going to grab a different set of tools here. Different set of snap ring pliers here. And I might do this off camera just because it saves time. Okay, so like 10,000 snap ring pliers later, and there we go. So she's out or loose, and then that's what you're trying to get out the whole time. Just slide your light in there so you can see better. And I just loosen it all up. So you can pull that spring out. There's a spring in there that we were compressing. And to get them out, typically you can just turn over and pound around the thing. Or we'll use air. Give me 1 sec. Yeah, so basically I just put my thumb over this hole. There's a hole here. And then I went with the second. And I actually I couldn't remember offhand which one to hit, so I just hit this one and it popped. It basically, it shoots it right out. And there's one more in there. So there's one more in there. It's the bottom one. There's oh, it can't. No, it didn't. It's like a release check ball here. It should maybe pop it loose. So on this one, I just plug this bottom hole and I hit this one here. It'd be like your bottom hole on the shaft. So just play around with it a little bit. You'll get it out. And yeah, this is your input housing, drum empty. We know the 3/4 clutches confirmed to be toast, and so like these rubber seals on here, these rubber seals, molded seals go bad, and that's why you guys lose your 3/4 clutches. Yeah, that's weird. It's like some cloth in there too. So I haven't seen that before. So in here, I don't know if you guys can see that. There was like this piece of string or thread or cloth material totally stuck in this is a release check ball. It was stuck in there, hanging in there, so that's weird. Don't know why some thread would be in your transmission, you know what I mean? But these are why those molded pistons are definitely a problem. And what I mean by like a problem is you just got to replace them, and then, you know what I mean? And they come in, almost all your kits come with them. And we are getting there. There's a snap ring in here that we want to get out of this that I'm going to work on. It's all the way down in here, and it'll probably take me a little bit, so I will do it off camera. Basically, you're just going to use snap ring pliers, you know, whichever ones work good for you, big ones or little ones, you know what I mean, whatever. So I'll be right back with you. So, and that's that snap-on that was down there by the planetary and holding that together there. And they give you a new one of these in the kit. Usually you get a new one of these snap rings. So a lot of your 4L60s will come with the 4-pin planetaries, and that's what this has, a 4-pin planetary. And you can take them apart and do a lot of inspecting on them, but what you're looking for is you just look side to side play, check each one. You know, you're grabbing it, you're seeing is there movement like this on this gear. I think that's helical cut. Some of my friends at work would know. So yeah, that type of cut gear, you're just checking to see if there's any play. They all feel really good. You'll also later on, you'll take measurements with feeler gauge on these sides of the gear to see how much play you got this way. And this is your like low reverse sun shell. Low reverse sun shells are known for failure, and they break off here. This raised edge here will break off, and then you'll lose reverse. I'd have to look at the book to see what else you lose, but you lose some gears there with that once that breaks. So they recommend, if you're gonna rebuild your trans, you're gonna wanna get a new sun shell. Supposedly, there are some hardened ones they make, but I don't know what years they switched from the ones that need to be replaced to like the hardened sun shells. So the next thing we're gonna do is, let's see if you guys can see that. There's a yellow snap ring down there. And this one, it happens to be yellow. I'm not sure if they're all yellow like that, but I just gotta pop that out. So that's next. And I'm just gonna use a screwdriver and basically work that snap ring out, get my hand behind it, and then just keep working that screwdriver all the way around. So basically, just screwdriver in there against the wall of the case, and I just twist it a little bit, and it pushes that snap ring off the wall and out of the grooves, and then I hook behind it one of these angled awls. And now it's kind of loose. I can reach in and grab it and kind of work it out, and it pops out of the rest of the grooves. So I think this is like your center support. take a look at this here. I should have just went with it. So I wasn't sure if there was something else going on. But when you get to this point, after you remove that center snap ring, the small one, and then the big snap ring for this center support, then you can pop the bottom of your output shaft, and it should bring everything forward. But I just, I wasn't sure, so that's why I stopped. You always want to stop. If you're not sure, just stop, take a minute. If you gotta look something up, look it up. But yeah. So yeah, so this is your center support. I got another lower planetary, and you'll do the same thing, go through that planetary, make sure all the, and this is just one of the checks that you do, just make sure there's no significant play in these planetaries, all 4 of them. And this is a 4-pinion planetary. You'll also do feeler gauge checks to make sure you don't got too much slop that way. So like angled slop, and then end play slop there. And you got another clutch pack here, I believe, for the reverse. And these reverse clutches all look really good. Little reverse clutches. I mean, really look good. Lots of material, no darkening, no hot spots. All right. I'll kind of clean up a little bit, and then we'll look in the bottom of the case. And we're almost there. So in the bottom of this case is your low reverse piston. And that low reverse piston has a spring, and there's a snap ring that holds that low reverse piston in. And if I didn't say, all these rings have been snap rings that we've been pulling out, a lot of them. So that low reverse piston will have some seals. Once we get that snap ring out, we'll be able to put some air to it, and it'll pop that low reverse piston out for us. So, all right, just give me a sec. Back with you. So now, basically, let's try to get this on camera here. Now, this is where we'll use this. This is the tool for this, the low reverse piston. I had it mixed up earlier. So this will go down in the case, and these edges will catch the case lugs. All right, I'll get that all in there and together, and I'll show you guys what it looks like. And this is what it looks like when that tool's installed. It basically grabs the lugs on the side of the case, and you just spin her down. There's like a C-style bent piece of metal on the bottom that pushes down on the spring, lets you then get to that snap ring without any pressure on it. So let me get that removed here. Might be kind of hard to see, but to also save you some time too, like all I did was just work those snap ring pliers, and you just got to wiggle, 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 wiggle to get that up and off that from around that shaft. And if you're tearing one of these apart, you're gonna be able to see that and know that right away that that's what I'm talking about. So, and I just pulled that out, unscrewed that tool, pulled it, and now that spring will come out here. It sits like that. You can pull that out. And now that low reverse piston will not come out unless you assist it with air, so let's do that. Okay, now we're just going to apply some air here to get the low reverse piston out. We are going to, so you can see that there, this hole here next to that check ball, right up here, we're going to apply some air there. You don't have to, if you can dial your air compressor down too, you can do that if you're worried, but just a little bit of air is all you need. That's it. And what we're looking for here, you're going to be checking these sealing rings and the surface area for any damage. Sealing ring, surface area here. Everything looks pretty good. And then check this inside one. So the inside, outside, and then this upper outside. And then that's it. So your whole transmission for a 4L60E has been, at least, you know, for the most part, it's completely disassembled, and that's the bottom of your case. It's empty. What I'll do now is I'll probably clean this all up, clean it out, and clean the outside too. It's really bad. And then I'll go through, as I'm rebuilding, then I'll go through stuff like when I get to the pump, you know, take the pump halves apart, look inside there, see what I need, rebuild kit for sure. And because really your pump is like the heart of your transmission. If your pump's got any wear in it, you're just not going to have the same line pressure. You're going to have pressure issues. And if you have pressure issues, you'll have clutch pack issues that are not able to grab as tightly as they need to, and will cause premature wear because they'll slip too much. And like we talked about in the beginning, how GM like the Cadillac transmissions, like for the feel when I was a kid growing up, and I'm not saying necessarily now, but that's what the older guys used to say when I was a kid, like, you know, it's Cadillac transmissions, you don't feel the shifts, you know, but if you want a hard shift, they make like the shift kits, and that 2.4 Corvette servo upgrade, you definitely feel a difference in the shifts. But so in that 2.4 upgrade, I guess you could say, or if that's what you're going to mod, that will, you know, you're going to feel it more. It's going to increase your line pressure. So hopefully it's good on the clutches, but you know, that jerky and that feeling, and you're really feeling it hard. You just got to wonder, is there anything else going on? I mean, it definitely shakes a lot, you know what I mean? Not shakes, but you definitely feel it. So, but yeah, I think that's it for this. There's nothing really else. You know, when I go to redo stuff, I'll do different videos on it, like the valve body and stuff like that. So you guys have a good one. Sorry the video is so long, but man, I thought it would be way shorter than this, but turns out it's pretty long. So you guys all have a good one, and see you guys next time. Bye.